My next guest is Fred Travalena, an impressionist. He'll be, the first 2 weeks in June, he'll be at the Sands Hotel in Las Vegas, and then he performs at the Sparks Nuggets in Reno, June 29th to July 13th. One of my favorite impressionists, Fred Travalena. Fred.
We have finally seen it, ladies and gentlemen. The first Frost-Nixon interview was on. I'm sure a lot of you saw it, and there's going to be a couple of more now. And when I was watching that interview, and I watched it as closely as I could, there was this underlying thing going on there, that Richard Nixon was trying to say something that he wasn't actually saying, and Frost was trying to get at something that he wasn't saying. So here is my impression of what I thought that whole first interview was about. Here we have Mr. David Frost interviewing the former president.
Hello and welcome to the festivities. Tonight we're interviewing the former reigning monarch of the United States and indeed the world, Richard Milhouse Nixon. The man who secured the gates at San Clemente for $16.5 million and bought a tape recorder for the Oval Office for $16.95. Now tell us, sir, during the period known as Watergate, you little Dickens, you... Did you do anything wrong, immoral, or illegal?
Well, first of all, I'd like to say, as on the film network, I'm mad as hell, and I'm not gonna take it anymore. And as far as those Watergate tapes are concerned, I am so sick of
hearing about tape recordings you have no idea.
I want to make that clear. I'm coming home, I've done my time, and I have to know what is and isn't mine. Can it be that it was all so simple then? Or has time rewritten every line? And if I had a chance to do it all again, my fellow Americans, tell me, would I? Would I? No, I'll stay on the bus. Forget about us, but don't put the blame on me. Tie a yellow ribbon round the White House tree.
Thank you very much. It's amazing how the different presidential styles, you know, Jimmy Carter from down home, and he did something very interesting this week. He admitted something that very few people would allow themselves to admit, even to their closest friends. So, ladies and gentlemen, from Plains, Georgia, and the White House, here he is, the President of the United States, Jimmy Carter.
My name is Jimmy Carter, and anybody who doesn't agree with my energy program can kiss my grits. You know, I did see flying saucers, UFOs, whatever you want to call them, and people said, how could a president admit to seeing flying saucers? Well, I did see them, and just to prove it to you, I brought one of the occupants from the flying saucer here today to talk to you. Mr. Martian, say hi to the people.
Hi, everybody. I'm a Martian. Nice to see you. Now, what we want from Earth, Mr. Carter, we want to park our ships on your planet here, interplanetary parking lot sort of thing. We'll make a deal with you. What is it you want from Mars?
What we want from Mars is all the oil on the planet Mars sent to Earth in clearly marked containers that say it's from Mars.
Does not compute. Why do you wish this?
So when I tell the people of the United States that the price of oil is out of this world, I will mean it.
Well, Mr. Carter, I have a gift for you. Can I have those over here, please? These right here. As As you know, on Mars, we have a lot of short people. And so to celebrate my first meeting here on this planet, I have worked up an impersonation of my favorite singer, Mr. Paul Williams.
Day after day, I must face a world of strangers where I don't belong. I'm not that strong when there's no getting over that rainbow. When my smallest dreams won't come true, when I can take all the madness the world has to give, but I won't last a day without you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. You know, Mr. Milton Berle was talking about Frank Sinatra, and he is my favorite singer in the whole world. I would like to do my impersonation of him for you. It's one of my favorite things. My impression of Mr. Frank Sinatra. I've got you under my skin. I've got you deep in the heart of me. So deep in my heart, you're really a part of me. I've got you under my skin. Sacrifice anything, come what might, for the sake of having you near. Spite of a warning voice comes in the night and repeats how it yells in my ear. Don't you know, you fool, you got no way to win. Why not use your mentality? Step up to reality. Time I do, the thought of you makes me stop just before I begin. And I've got you under my skin, and I dig you under my skin. Thank you.
Thank you. That was lovely.
Well, I understand we have 2 minutes, George. It's a pleasure to be on the show tonight. You're surely looking great, and I want to give you something because people confuse my name with Travolta and Davino, so here's a
Silver bullet. Who was that man? Fred Travalena.
Holy
Silver bullet for George Carlin.
Dr. Carlin. Fred.
Yes?
I just love anyone that does someone like David Frost.
Well, thank you very much.
You worked with him.
Yes, I worked with David Frost at the Riviera Hotel about 5 years ago, and it was really strange because how this thing works. My first Tonight Show, I was preempted by Richard Nixon's resignation. And then last week I was on a Merv Griffin show from Caesar's Palace. I turned it on, and David Frost, and there was Richard Nixon and David Frost doing the thing. I think Richard Nixon sits there and says, I'll find where he's working. I'll fix him. You know.
Is he interfering with your television career?
Well, I don't think so. It's just one of those things, you know.
Let me ask you about David. What would David ask you if David were interviewing you?
Well,
if I were here?
I played all the guests in his act, you know, and he would ask Truman Capote and things like that. And one of the things he would ask me is, just a little light English accent, how do you like your dogs, Mr. Lyndon Johnson?
How do you like your dogs, Mr. Lyndon Johnson?
Huh?
Well, my puppies certainly are things that I love so much. Want to see them?
Yes. You do the whole cast. I'm one of those persons who loves if an impressionist can do Richard Egan or John Payne or Forrest Tucker or someone like that. Do you do any, not obscure actors certainly, but obscure impressions? Do you do any of them?
Well,
I don't want to put you on the spot.
I do Carl Malden.
Oh, that fits in my bill.
My name is Carl Malden. And when I'm out of town, I never leave my traveler's checks in my room. I put them in the safest place, in my nose.
Sorry, Carl.
Michael Douglas must be much harder to do. Who's your favorite? Let me ask you that. As a guy who thinks of them and watches all the stars and which ones you pick?
I have a lot of my favorite impressions is Frank Sinatra. I do Wayne Newton. I do Jimmy Carter. I love to do. And Jim Napier. Golly, we're in Spider-Man. Surprise. Love to do all those people like that.
The only one I do is Mort Saul. I'll be back in just a moment here. We're going to play. I'll be a tip.